All right, folks, good afternoon. Try it again. Good afternoon. I am so excited to see you. I am so very thrilled to have an actual assembly with live people. We have missed our regular routines of our lives in our school. So this is an exciting week for me and for our counselors, because we are going to be able to talk to you about your schedules for this year and subsequent years that are coming. And you should have received, when you come in, you should have received the green or yellow looking paper, as well as a white sheet. Okay, so if you did not receive one of those, just simply raise your hand. I'm going to keep talking about some other things, but that way the counselors would know who they missed. Just hold your hand up and they'll come to you. Just hold your hand up, folks. They'll come to you. You guys are an interesting group of children right now, because you only had half of your freshman year here in the building, and then about this time last year, we all went home, right? So I'm looking at and have the privilege to be with the class of 2023. Guys, it's closer than it's ever been. It's coming quickly. This has been a very, very difficult time for all of us. I do want to take a moment to thank you. As young people, you have done a phenomenal job of wearing your masks, of social distancing, following the guidelines, and oftentimes I have witnessed, both here and out in public, that it is the younger generation that is following the guidelines the best. So for that, I thank you. It is through your efforts and that of the people across our country and the world that we want to be able to get life back. It's coming soon. Vaccines, as you know, are rolling out. They continue to be distributed, and through the help of the National Guard and the Red Cross and multiple agencies across our state and our country, these things are happening. So, once again, I'm Mrs. Cruikshank. I have started this year as the curriculum assistant principal. I have been here, and for the last 11 years, I was one of the discipline assistant principals. Prior to that, I did 10 years in the classroom here. Okay? So my heart is here. I am vested in Capitol High School, and I am vested and betting on you guys. You are the future. You are everything. So today we're going to take a few moments to discuss with you course offerings as you get to select. Here in the next couple of days, you'll be able to work with our counselors more directly, and you're going to be able to talk to them about your schedules, your aspirations, the things that you want to do in your future. Because this pandemic and this situation is only temporary. Your goals and all those life dreams are still there. We've got to keep pushing forward. So I want to take a moment and let the counselors introduce themselves, because most of you may or may not know who your counselor were. Again, we only saw each other for a few short moments last year before pandemic, and that wasn't very long to get to know people.
Good afternoon. I am Chrissy Vickers. I am your counselor if your last name is A through E. This is my 4th year at Capitol, and I'm going to let Miss Phillips go next. She's the next part of the alphabet.
Hi, I'm Shauna Phillips. I am the counselor for those with last names F through J. This is my 2nd year here at Capitol, and prior to that, I was at Horace Mann Middle School.
Hello, My name's Chaz Clark. I have students K through Q, and I've been at Capital for about 6 months.
Mr. Clark is our newest counselor and graduated Marshall University, correct?
Yeah, WVU undergrad and then
Okay.
PE and health and then Marshall.
We're all Marshall counseling, right?
Oh, wow, okay, so they're all Marshall. I hadn't really thought about it. Mr. Clark was just sharing he finished his undergrad at West Virginia University, and then in physical education, health and phys ed, and then to Marshall for the counseling certification. Also a basketball player at Sissonville High School. There you go. So, we take that time to introduce ourselves because we want you to know that we're here for you, things are there. We
Mrs.
also
Poor is
have-
not here.
We also have an additional counselor that is not here, Mrs. Tanisha Poor. She handles the last part of the alphabet. She is R? Yes, R through Z. If your last name begins with R through Z, she is your counselor. Mrs. Poor is a Capital High School alumni. She went to school here. And we have been blessed to have her with us here. She's been here for 7 years. So you have people here that are vested and ready to go.
Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the white piece of paper that you were given when you walked in. This is supposed to be a PEP, or a personalized education plan. They look a little differently than this does. You received one as an 8th grader. If you remember doing it, you met with either your counselor in middle school or a teacher, and you put your information there. You picked a cluster for your career track. You may not remember doing this. Actually, when Ms. Cruikshank was talking about your class, you guys as a whole have never even experienced scheduling with us really, because we did come to your middle schools in 8th grade and meet with you, if you remember even doing that. But then last year, when it was time to schedule you guys for this year, we were all at home because of COVID. So you did not get to come and meet with us individually to go over any of this. So if you do not remember the PEP, it's not that big of a deal, because we can update it this year when we see you individually. So all you're going to do with this piece of paper is you're going to have your name at the top. We need a working telephone number in case we need to reach you for scheduling for some reason. We also would like for you to look in the middle of this sheet. That's where you're going to find the career clusters. You may not remember what you chose as an 8th grader. If you do, great, go ahead and mark it. If you're not sure, then you choose what you would like for it to be. We're going to collect this part before you leave here today, and then we can go back and compare it to the PEP that we do have on file for you, and if we do not have one on file, we will make one.
Okay. Did everyone get that? You do need to get out a pen or pencil, put your name on this paper for us, mark your career cluster. Okay, and listen, we have a lot of information, so the chit chat that I'm hearing needs to stop. I'm always going to be Ms. Cruikshank, and it has to be that we have to be able to hear what's going on, because this is your future. So, Ms. Vickers.
The next paper that you have, this yellow-green bright piece of paper, these list the courses that are available for you to request for next year. So we'll briefly go over these. You're going to mark on this paper what you would like to have, and then later we will meet with you in your English class to go over it, answer any questions. You would like for your parents to see this too. That's why we're giving it to you. You're going to take it home. You're going to hang on to this piece of paper. You're going to have it ready when it's time to be in your English class to fill out this Google form. That's going to allow Mrs. Cruikshank to create the master schedule. But let's look at the top. So if you see English, next year, this is the time that you will get to choose a dual credit English if you would like. So
What's
if you,
dual credit?
Dual credit is where you're going to get high school credit and college credit at the same time for free, right here at Capitol High School. So if you would like to go to college,
Yes, yes, very much so. Your science classes, you guys have just taken the biology. It opens up the door, you're currently in biology. It opens up the door for you to start taking several different classes. The new class that we have on here is about the fifth one down, the physical science. That's one that we have added. Notice at the bottom of that list, it goes into the honors. Same rules apply. You have to have the grades to get into the honors classes. But the AP classes, those are advanced placement classes. There is a change with science, or within these lab classes. There's a change in state code that says that you can no longer receive both credits for the class and the lab. So it will be a 2-block period of time, say first and second period, but you would only get 1 credit for it. It is honors. That's the way it goes with those labs. And your counselors can talk with you more in detail if that is of interest to you. Something else on science? Guys, if you have anything at all, okay? The mathematics, math is there. You guys have taken Algebra 1, and you should be in geometry. Some of you may already be into Algebra 2, correct?
correct.
Okay, so where does that leave them, Ms. Vickers?
Well, if you've already had Algebra 2 and you look down this list, you're going to see several options. Typically, after Algebra 2, students go into Pre-Cal Trig. That's your next step. But we also have that financial algebra course. Transitions math is typically only offered to seniors. But financial algebra, I have a couple of juniors who actually are taking that right now as a virtual course because we don't have it in our building, but we will have it in our building next year. And the way Ms. Cruikshank was describing that, it's more of a course that reviews or goes over Algebra 1 concepts, but it also has the financial aspect, the real life financial aspect in that course.
Okay, also to add to that math, you guys are getting to the point where you can keep going into that accelerated math track. And here at Capitol High School, we have something very unique, and that is we offer 15 credits, college credits, through dual credit, through the mathematics, the ones that you see with the stars. Several of those fit into that, and Mr. John Vinsel works very hard to ensure that students get those classes. If you choose to go that upper level of math and you're going into a mathematics field, then you can be 1 credit shy of a minor in mathematics when you graduate high school, and that would be applied towards your college. So basically, you knock out the first semester of college credit-wise by taking the math classes here. Foreign language.
The foreign languages that we offer listed, you're going to see consist of Spanish and French. Please understand, and I didn't mention this earlier, you need 24 credits to graduate from high school. 18 of those credits come from your core content areas and 6 of those credits come from electives. A foreign language is not required to get your Capitol High School diploma. However, if you plan on attending college, most universities would like for you to have 2 years of a foreign language while in high school. Some colleges won't adhere to that policy. It really depends on where you want to go to school. So if you have started taking a foreign language right now, let's say you're in Spanish 1 right now, but you're not doing so well, and you decide you want to take French next year, fresh start over, you can do that, but you would still have to take French too. You need 2 years consecutively of a language, not 1 year of Spanish 1, 1 year of French 1, for the college to accept it. But just keep in mind, it's not a graduation requirement.
Okay, the next category down through there is your honors electives. And to be honest with you, I'm sitting here looking at the sheet. I'm the one that typed it up, and I'm going to clarify. Those technically should have been moved up under history. I see Mr. Cox standing back there, and sir, I apologize. I was working from a document that pre-existed, so those are the list of several of our AP classes. AP Psychology, AP World, that was a freshman class normally, but anyone can take it. AP Euro, and AP US History. The elective credits, you want me to keep going, Ms. Vickers?
And before you move on from
Okay.
the honors electives, I just want to say, I'm not sure who the student was, but I was walking by Mr. Mullins' class yesterday, and he asked me to stop because the student had some questions about some of our electives. The AP Euro and the AP Psychology used to count in place of contemporary studies
Yes.
as an 11th grade history credit. It does no longer. So if you decide to take one of those next year as a junior, it will be taken in addition to contemporary studies. You have to take both. You get the credit, it just doesn't count. So your history credits for high school are world studies, US studies, contemporary studies, and civics as a senior. But previously, if you chose to take AP Psychology, that would count as your contemporary studies credit, but it no longer counts. You have to take contemporary studies.
Right, and to clarify, you would still get, if you took those double credits in history, you would still get the credit for the contemporary plus the other one that you would take in an elective situation. Okay? I'm going to kind of combine the next several categories, folks, because it's kind of goes hand in hand. You have the visual arts, you have the vocal music selections, instrumental music. Included in that is music appreciation, piano 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and guitar 1 and 2. Dance company, dance classes. We also have a class for dance for athletes. And I want to jump, if you'll flip to the back side real quick too, so you can just follow my train of thought. I'm going to include and jump down to the ROTC. We have ROTC 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the reason I want to include that in my next comment is this. The state of West Virginia has made it such that if you choose to take one of these classes, you can get, and it'll all be spec'd out by your counselor for you, but you can actually pick up your PE credit by taking one of those classes. So, Sergeant Lambert, if your kids take ROTC 1 and 2, or they already done it, or you haven't signed up for ROTC and you think you would like to, go ahead and take 1 and 2, and you get a check mark for the PE class if you haven't already taken it. Okay? That check mark means you don't get a letter grade for it, but you don't have to go to the gym and take PE, because he is going to keep you physically fit. Okay? If you are going through one of the other co-curricular classes, I will use show choir as my example. Okay? If you are in show choir and you have not taken PE, you could take that show choir class, take a 2-week class that we have built in Schoology, and from that, you would get your show choir grade, your credit for show choir. You would also get a PE letter grade from that 2-week class that you take online. Think about that. You could get them for band, dance, show choir, chorus, vocal ensemble. You can get it as an athlete as well, and that's not on the paper, but if you compete for Capital High School on a sports team and you complete a season, whether you actually got out on the court or not, if you rode the pine, your coach verifies that you were on that team for the entire season. The athletic side of it, you have a choice. You can either get the check mark and not have to go take phys ed, it's kind of like a free pass, or you can take that 2-week class and get the PE letter grade credit just for representing Capital High School and completing a season. So those are some new options that we have coming down the pike. General electives, Ms. Vickers? You want to do that, or you want me to keep going?
Well, the general electives, I'm not seeing anything that stands out to me as different than what we have been offering, but I will touch base on the grad support If you see the grad support on the far right and the learning skills, and they both say recovery in parentheses. 11th grade is typically when we put a student in credit recovery. We do it in 10th grade just as needed, but it's pretty rare. So if you know that you have some credits to recover, your counselor, of course, is going to know when they look at your transcripts and your credit sheet. But now is the time to start working on any missing credits, because we don't want to come into our senior year behind. So in addition to fifth block, which some of you may be doing already, that's a Schoology course this year, the credit recovery classes, learning skills, or grad support are with Ms. Roadcap. And those courses are online through a program called PEAK. And when you go to that class period, you work on any credits that are missing. So if you have more than one, as soon as you finish one course, she just rolls you right over into the next one. And as you finish those, then you bring the paper to your counselor and we put it on your transcript.
Okay, you'll notice on there that we have world religions. Ms. Paula Kerner teaches that class. Changing it a little bit this year, it's going to be switched, and instead of being just flat out a year-long course, I'm chunking it up into 2 semesters, and we are going to be able to pair that with the driver's ed course as well. Mr. Root is our driver's ed teacher. I know that's an exciting time. How many of you in here, just by show of hands, already have your driver's license? Anybody? Okay, learner's permit? Uh-oh. All right, that's exciting time. So that is something you want to look at perhaps for an elective. He's going to be offering more sections of that. We have devised a way to make that schedule work so that he can incorporate more in electives. Probably if we can, because he's making more room. There's going to be, I haven't even been able to tell the counselors the good news about driver's ed yet. So, also want to point out another one I forgot on the other side under visual arts. Introduction to Visual Communications took the place of television productions. So if you are interested in doing what some of these students are doing here in the studio for us today, and that is videoing, going to ball games, doing some of those recordings and things, and learning how to edit that, that is a great class to start off in. Want to go ahead and jump on down to those CTE programs you see on the bottom of the back side. And we are getting close to being finished. I do appreciate your attention. These are the courses on the left-hand side. If you are in a CTE program and you have committed to one of those CTE tracks, these are the classes that are available to you next year as juniors. This is where you should be. You can work with your counselors, because in some instances those can be doubled up. But we have robotics here. We have the Careers in Education, which is working in a daycare, the business program, marketing. We have a JROTC, CTE completer program, law and public safety, multimedia publishing, graphic design. And with the CTE program, a lot of kids don't understand what it is. CTE program, you take 4 classes, 4 prescribed classes while you are here with us as your elective, and at the conclusion of that, you get a certificate of completion from the state of West Virginia. If you so choose, you can also receive a certificate for the West Virginia Governor's Workforce Program, and that would give you the advantage and a leg up in a job opportunity, or you can go on to college if you wish. But it basically helps open the doors for you and gives you a taste of what additional college courses would be in that field, and or allow you to enter the workforce in that field.
I would just like to add one more thing before we finish up. When you look at the top of this sheet and you see English, history, science, and math, those are your 4 main content areas. You will choose one course in each of those areas, and then you're going to be choosing 3 electives. Because there's a lot of choices on this sheet, front and back. I would choose 3, maybe number them, 1, 2, 3, and then a 4th one as a backup. Why as a backup? Because when you meet with us to schedule And we're putting that into our system and our numbers are live. If a course fills, then we're gonna have to go to the next choice. So 4 content areas, 3 electives. Those electives could be one of any of those, foreign language, fine arts, the CTE, for example. If you're in digital photography and you've already had intro to visual communications, next year I believe your choice is videography. So you know off the bat, there's one elective. And then ask yourself, have I met my health requirement? Have I met the PE requirement or thought of how the best way to go about that is? Do I have a fine arts credit? Do I need a foreign language? Those are things you need to ask yourself to help you make those selections.
Okay, a couple of challenges for you. Number 1, I want you to hold on to that green, yellow piece of paper. Looks yellow in here in this room, but be sure that you hold on to that. Do not use it or lose it. Write your notes on it. Talk to your parents. Talk to your friends. Talk to your teachers. If you don't know who Sergeant Lambert is and you're interested in ROTC, you stop an adult or you ask a friend. They'll direct you to him. He will talk to you. Okay? So be thinking about this. The other thing that I am going to challenge you on is this. It's been rough. It's been really, really rough. If you have missing assignments, if you are not passing your classes right now, I implore you, I beg you, please buckle down, pass this semester so that you do not have to deal with makeup of credits. There is no free pass in high school. You do not get just simply promoted on to the next grade. You have to have the credits to get out the door. It's very, very important. Okay? So we have the other half of your class coming in, and due to time, we're not able to answer questions now, but in the very near future, we will be visiting your English classes. Counselors, if you want to go to the back to grab those white papers, you keep the yellow, green one. The white one, the counselors need back. You need your name on it and a working telephone number. Okay, if we can't reach you, we're going to schedule you. And there'll be no changes, so make sure you get a number on there.
It's okay.
Okay?